You have just seen a video highlighting past works of the Mikautadze Dance Theater Company. Joining me now to talk about their upcoming all-new exciting performance are artistic director Elizabeth Mikautadze and her husband, musical director David Mikautadze. Welcome to Arts Weekly and thank you for joining me.
Hi.
Here we are, 1 year later.
Yeah.
Same place, same time, all new show.
Yes.
Yes, very exciting. Elizabeth, let's talk a little bit about your background on dance before we get started. You've got a pretty impressive resume. You started dancing when?
When I was 3.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't very serious when I was 3, taking once a week, doing the cute little recitals.
Absolutely.
And as a teenager, I became a little bit more serious and joined a youth ensemble. And then I pursued a BFA in dance performance from the Boston Conservatory.
Was your training as a young woman classical?
Yes.
It was?
Yes. It was mostly ballet, a little bit of modern, a little bit of jazz inside of that training.
Right, yeah.
And while I was at the conservatory, I focused mostly on modern dance.
Right, because you specifically studied Martha Graham.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I attended the Martha Graham Dance Center after graduating from the conservatory. So I trained in that technique for a couple years, and then eventually I got to perform in a Martha Graham offshoot dance company called the Buglisi Foreman Dance Company.
Wonderful. I don't think people understand exactly what you mean. You say the Martha Graham dance style or theory. Tell me a little bit about that, because we've heard her name for
of course, yeah.
50 years.
Yeah, she is the American pioneer of modern dance. And in the late 1920s, 1930s, she developed a technique that was based on breaking the traditions of classical ballet. And her technique is based on developing a core energy through a system of contract and release. And that contract and release of the muscles correlates to the inhale and the exhale of the breath. So as the dancer trains with this breath and with the muscular connection to that breath, the dancer becomes very versatile, able to dance on multi-levels, dance into the floor, come out of the floor, jump into the air with ease and with a great aesthetic appeal.
There's a certain set of exercises that are specifically for helping the artist and the dancer learn those techniques, but also continue to keep them honed, if you will. Yes,
it is much like a ballet bar, where you learn this series of about 45 floor exercises, and once you know them, you continue to repeat them.
Do you do those?
We do. The dancer trains
every
in the
day?
Graham technique. They're 3 days a week during rehearsal, yes.
They do. So
and
you
hopefully
start with
outside
those.
Of rehearsal too.
You start with those exercises
We do.
before you. Oh, interesting.
We do.
When I was acting one time, I worked with a choreographer who had a series of exercises we did for 45 minutes every time before, and a lot of it had to do with breathing, which helped me as an actor and as a singer, because nerves would set in and I wouldn't breathe.
Right.
And I would forget how important breath is to the performer.
Absolutely.
To keep us
and that
centered.
Routine, that ritual.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, great. David, you're a musician.
Yes.
And you two met in Boston.
We did.
Because you were studying across the street, I hear.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
I was at Berklee College of Music in Boston, and our friends, well, actually, Berklee and Boston Conservatory have a synergy where they share, at least back then, various spaces, and our friends became friends, and then we became friends, and when I met her, we were kind of discussing our backgrounds, and I had just gotten into the music of Igor Stravinsky and heard about the Ballet Russe and how awesome that was, and I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could do that one day? And that kind of set the conversation for this company. It just kind of evolved
Many years ago.
Many years ago.
You've been married how long?
14 years.
14 years. Well, I was so hoping it would be the story of the musician who saw the pretty dancer walk across campus.
Well, it did start out that way.
It did start out
It did.
Okay. So that's what I was sort of hoping it was. You know, that's great. And you're a musician, and what brought you to Fort Wayne? What brought both of you to Fort Wayne?
Sweetwater Sound.
Oh, of course, yes.
So in New York, lived most of my life in New York, and after graduating, we both moved to New York City. We started working as musician and artist, and I always had my resume on the internet, and Sweetwater called me and said, hey, why don't you come check us out? And I said, well...
never heard of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Never did. And came out here, and we kind of liked it, and we're like, it's probably a good place to have a family and,
right.
and all that. So we came out here in 2003, and didn't know how long we were going to stay, but now it's...
And here you are.
Yeah, here we are.
And great possibilities have opened up for
it's
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's
Sweetwater's a
awesome.
wonderful place.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They're a great partner with IPFW as well. And you have a dance company which you created, the Mikautadze Dance Theater Company, which started when?
We were founded in 2008, and then shortly after that we got our tax-exempt status. And one of our big milestones is our residency that we were granted in 2012
Right.
with the College of Visual and Performing Arts at
Right, a
IPFW.
company in residence, which,
Yes.
which affords you what?
It allows us to have a set amount of rehearsal time, which is so crucial for a budding dance company to have that time to train, to improve artistically, to rehearse. And then, of course, you know, the ability to use Williams Theater is fantastic so that we can put on our own full-length shows.
Do you find the Williams Theater challenging on the campus of IPFW? It's a thrust proscenium for those viewers who don't know. It thrusts out into the audience. Does that...
It's always...
a
It presents as a
challenge?
challenge when we're spacing for our shows, mapping out where the dancers need to be on stage. But I also think it's fantastic because there's the ability to come in from wing space that you wouldn't have in a typical rectangular stage.
Proscenium stage,
Yeah, and we
yeah.
can come up from underneath the stage.
Right.
So that is interesting for
Yeah,
us.
It's a challenge, but it provides more opportunities perhaps than challenges and difficulties.
Definitely.
David, last year at your concert, which we saw in the video, you conducted 12 or 13 flute players
That's right.
as a collaboration. Is that correct?
It is. We
And-
had... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and this year, are you going to have 10 trombones, or what are you going to
We
say?
are
Are they
gonna
going
have
to
a
fly? Are
trombone.
they going to hang?
Well, we're always looking to push the envelope.
I know you are.
This company is all about the collaboration with other artists, other genres. And so every time like soon as last year's show ended, we started brainstorming on what can we do next year. So, and Elizabeth already had some ideas, and she was actually commissioned to do some projects already. So there was already projects on the table. And so we started looking around, and I've been speaking with Christopher Rutkowski for a while, and he had an awesome string quartet that he's composed a couple years back. He said, you know, have a listen, take a look at this. And Elizabeth listened to it, fell in love with it, so that was on the table for a project.
Wonderful.
We went also back to the composer Joseph Marcello, who composed the music for the flute ensemble last year, and he had a set of waltzes that he said, you know, this would be a great idea to work with, and he composed a nocturne for like as an opening to the work. So I said, that's great. You know, who can we get to play it? So it wasn't enough just to get a recording of it. Let's bring a performer on stage with the company. So we found Alex Claypock from the Fort Wayne Phil, and he was happy to do it. So he's part of.
And he is what at the Fort Wayne Phil? Is he
the principal pianist.
You got the principal pianist to play in your concert.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm super excited.
That's very exciting. Hope we have a piano that he likes playing. Just a little sidebar. I hope we get a good, decent piano
That's
for
just a
him.
couple of the projects we've got going on. There's so much. We've got trombone player, a little quartet jazz ensemble. There's a trio jazz ensemble. There's poetry. There's visual arts. We're just trying to keep moving
Fantastic.
forward.
And how long is Dancescapes?
And it's about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. That's what you have done in the past, I think, as well. How many dancers do you have in the company right now?
We currently have 6 dancers, 3 of which have been with us pretty much since the beginning. So that's pretty interesting to have dancers that I've worked with for so long.
Right.
It's,
But you don't dance with them?
not right now.
No.
I would like to.
You'd like to?
I would
Oh,
like to.
okay. Because it's a little bit difficult to wear all of those hats.
It is.
The artistic director and
It is.
choreograph that many
Yeah.
different numbers. So in my promo, the entire show's new, or do you have any pieces that you're bringing back?
We have 7 works in this show. 1 has been performed before. The other 6 are brand new. So it's brand new this year.
And when
Nothing
did you
that
start,
we performed last year at the
When did you
show.
start creating the 6 or 7 other pieces?
We began late August. Worked through the year.
And since you have a core company, is it a collaborative effort in the creation of it?
Generally, in the past, it has not been. This year, we're doing something a little bit different. We do have one duet where Tracy Tritz and Jonathan Meter, our 2 principal dancers, have collaborated with me in choreographing the piece. So it's something a little bit different this year. It's not all, the whole show is not just choreographed by me.
Right.
And we'd like to explore that a little bit more in the future as well.
Good. David, when you say there's visual artists and there's, is every piece have a different component to it that the audience is going to find interesting, or is it?
Yeah, I think that we've got a lot of variety, and some of the work has live music, some of the work has no music, which is interesting.
Great.
So that there's always, and then you've got there's one work where we'll project an image on the screen,
Right.
and so there's
Good.
a lot of good stuff.
Let's get to contact information. How does someone get tickets to the Dancescapes? Ticket information is 460-481-6555 at ipfw.edu/tickets or 481-6555 for May 16th and 17th. Thank you both for joining me on Arts
Thank you
Weekly.
so
I look
much.
forward to seeing
Thank
you
you.
opening night. I'll be
Thank
there.
you.
Awesome.
Yay.
I'm John O'Connell, Dean of the IPFW College of Visual Performing Arts. On the next Arts Weekly, Irene Walters and Ruth Stone will be here to tell us all about IPFW's Sculpture with Purpose public art project and Kickstart, a community-wide festival in downtown Fort Wayne, Saturday, May 17th. Then Terry Ratliff will be here as the first artist to be part of our new segment we are titling Featured Fort Wayne Artist. For up-to-the-minute arts updates, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to join us here Thursday evenings at 7:30 on PBS 39. Thanks for watching Arts Weekly.
The preceding program on PBS 39 was made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
For nearly 60 years, Arts United has worked to bring the rich, diverse talents of our region together through support of the arts, socially, culturally, and economically. Arts United, providing a home for the arts in Northeast Indiana.